Hello and welcome to Miss Charlotte Astrology. I just burnt myself on my tea. Hello and welcome to Miss Charlotte Astrology. I'm Miss Charlotte, a full-time working astrologer, and on this channel I analyze the astrological charts of public figures, and very often they are celebrities or they're royals. But today we're looking at people that used to be famous. I mean, one of them will forever be famous because she's an icon of the late 90s and early 2000s because she did, children's shows and cinema. So she was a bright shining star, but in recent years she has not been doing too well. And the other one, he was the man behind the machine that made her famous. And these people are Dan Schneider and Amanda Bynes. So there has been many revelations around Nickelodeon, which is the production company that produces these children's TV shows. I'm a bit too old to know all of them. I was already on the verge of being an adult when the most popular ones like iCarly and Victorious, I know of them. I've never watched them. So I would actually, when they came out, I was a teacher. I was actually teaching high schoolers, and I do remember like the really younger ones, like the middle schoolers watching these shows and talking about it. But I really thought nothing of it because when I was a kid, I was watching TV shows as well, and they didn't have weird sexual feet fetish shit in it. Like I didn't really. No wonder they got away with it, because there's no adult watching this show. Because if I had watched it, I would have seen it, but no. Anyway, I'm going to be looking at the signature chart between Dan Schneider and his apprentice, Amanda Bynes. Everything I say in this reading is for entertainment purposes only. Everything is alleged. I have no intel on this. I know nothing. I'm just reading charts. I'm just reading a signature chart. That is it. There's nothing else to it. So if I say anything, it's all opinion. Okay? Great. Wonderful. Let's do it. All right. Actually, before I do, just letting you know, guys, 50% off my 60-minute readings on Zoom. If you want to meet with me and talk about your chart, you can do that. And there's a big sale going on right now. I am not going to be doing readings for that much longer. I want to focus more on content creation. So if you would like to have your chart read by me, you can do that. And all my sessions are recorded, so you get to keep it forever. Also, I do have 30% off my 20-minute recorded readings, and it's just emailed to you within 24 hours of the specific date and time that you book it. So please do that. And it's a great way to support me and my channel. And if you can't do that, can you just please like, subscribe, and watch my videos all the way through? Just leave it on in the background while you're cleaning, whatever. Or as a lullaby as you go to sleep, because apparently people listen to me when they go to bed, which is a compliment. Also kind of weird, but a compliment. Anyway. All right, let's have a look at this signature chart between this disgusting, icky, Java the Hutt piece of shit and my Aries queen, Amanda Bynes. All right, so if you notice, there's a lot of conjunctions. There's a lot of like imprinting. There's a lot of projection. There's a lot of connection. And yeah, it is a connection. I'm sorry to say, like it is. Like if you're talking about an older, disgusting, perverted man and a child, yeah, there is a connection. A very seedy one. We'll get into it. That does not look good. Anyway. Amanda Bynes is an Aries sun, an Aquarius moon, and a Gemini rising. Her planets are all in the blue, and Dan is a sun and moon in Capricorn and an Aries rising. Okay, so I'm going to get back to this chart at the very end just to cover what I don't cover in the other slides. Okay, so let's have a look at the first section here. Child bride, Dan's rising and Jupiter conjunct Amanda's sun. Dan projected a lot of himself and his identity and his dreams, his childhood dreams, onto Amanda. And the reason why I'm saying that is because his rising sign, remember your rising is it's the house of the self, right? It's the first layer of you. It's how you present yourself to the world. It is one of those houses that it concerns identity. and presentation. And his rising sign lies in a conjunction with her sun. Her sun is another thing in the chart that represents individualism and identity. The sun represents the ego and artistic self-expression, right? Remember, the sun rules Leo, so it's all about, here I am, da 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 da, let me tap dance for you. Like, that's what the sun is. It is your ego and your self-expression. To have this Manda's Aries sun on his Aries rising indicates that when he saw her, he saw himself in her. I didn't mean for that to me. Okay, that sounds okay. Okay, moving on, because you know how that sounded just now, and I didn't mean it to. Charlotte. Anyway, he saw himself, like the child version of himself. When he first saw her, he saw a version of himself. That's what I meant. My apologies. Now, the Jupiter-Sun conjunction, and there's part of fortune here as well. He's got Jupiter and part of fortune. So the guy is very charismatic. He's aggressive. He can be, but he's also very charming and very charismatic. Jupiter on the ascendant, people, they know how to sell ice to Eskimos. So with the Jupiter-Sun conjunction tells me that if this was a romantic chart, if there was sex involved, it's marriage, like, right? If these two people, if I had this chart, this initial chart in front of me, and it was two people that were dating or in some kind of relationship, I'd be like, oh, this is great. Like, this is marriage energy. Like, she is the wife, because Jupiter represents the husband. Jupiter represents marriage. And if someone has a personal placement in a conjunction with that Jupiter, they're going to embody the wife or the husband energy to you, right? So that's what I'm seeing here. And in this specific situation, it's not good, because she's a child. So I just want to point that out, okay? This is why this is a tough synastry chart for me to read. I've already got a bit of a headache. So not only is he projecting himself onto her, and he sees himself, like the childhood version of himself in her, and he's also perceiving her as somewhat of like a wife or a partner, potentially, allegedly, because I don't know anything, right? Now, part of fortune is here as well, and where part of fortune is, that's where you have luck. That is where you have literally fortune. Her sun is there. So being together, or whatever, if it's a professional relationship or an intimate one, whatever, it's going to bring him riches. It's going to make him lucky. Like, she is a moneymaker. She's a cash cow. She brings him abundance. And I think through their interaction, he finds, I don't know, some version of himself. Like, he lives through her. It's so weird. It's very weird. Ugh. And also, he has his Chiron. His Chiron is in his 12th house. Ugh. Chiron in the 12th house in Pisces. And then she's got her Pisces placements, her Mercury, her Jupiter, her part of fortune. And she's got Vesta here. That's all lying in a conjunction here. So this is in her 11th house. So having Jupiter, Mercury in the 11th, that's someone who's going to have a voice that is heard. That is someone who's going to connect to the masses, to the public, someone who's very popular. So she's got a lot of appeal. These placements play out in his 12th house of like taboo, forbidden, secret, hidden, icky stuff. Like, I mean, the 12th house can be a beautiful thing as well, but it is equally as, I mean, it's fantasy and nightmares. It's equally as beautiful as it is ugly. It just depends on what you do with that 12th house, or what's in that 12th house. He has Chiron here, some kind of a spiritual wound that he feels like she can heal. And the fact that her personal placements are in his icky 12th house, like, that's like, it kind of reminds me of the Jake Gyllenhaal Taylor Swift synastry, because she has a lot of her personal placements in his 12th house. It's like that secret, that it's a secret relationship, a secret thing. It's not something that is public, even though she has incredibly public placements. It's her 11th house. It's secret for him. It's a dirty little secret, actually. I reckon they did have long conversations and really connected. Like, I think there was a genuine connection here. It wasn't right. It wasn't right. But remember, predators make connections with their victims. That's how this goes, right? It's not always, in a dumpster, in an alleyway. It's not always like that. It's like it's a long process of genuine connection, and that genuine connection is also predation. So, I mean, if I was going to read this chart and this belonged to two consenting adults, I would say, wow, like this is a bit of a magical relationship. This is a relationship that, I mean, love has no boundaries here, really. I mean, love having no boundaries sounds icky to me as a Taurus Venus, like, ugh, like that could go anywhere. But for a lot of people, this is the magic carpet ride. But yeah, I think that there was some kind of wound that he felt she could heal through their interaction, through their relationship. Oh, it's just so icky in that picture of them. Yuck. Okay. Next slide. Intimate business, Aquarius and Capricorn conjunctions. So what's really interesting about their chart is that whatever secret relationship they had is very tied into the business. It's very tied in with the money. So he has a midheaven in Capricorn. He has Mercury on the midheaven, which makes a lot of sense because he was a writer. Literally, Mercury is your intellectual nature. It's communication. And it's also management. So, and he was all of those things. He was a producer, right? So having this makes a lot of sense. And it's in Capricorn, which is someone that, if you have a Capricorn midheaven, that's someone who's going to rise through the ranks. Like, it's a long, hard climb up the mountain to the very top. He has his sun here and his moon here. He's kind of like a father to all with that moon, and with the sun also there, he has a lot of honor and glory and respect. But here's the thing. It doesn't mean that he literally is an honorable person. It just means that the work he does is going to get recognized. A lot of his identity, because the sun is the ego, remember, and self-expression, a lot of his identity and how he perceives himself and how the world perceives him is so tied up with that 10th house of work. So yeah, it makes sense why he was working for an institution, very Capricorn. And it makes sense that he got a lot of praise and received a lot of affection. I know he has a lot of hatred now, but he was quite well liked by a lot of people. I can completely I can see that here. But yeah, this falls into her 8th house. And her Mars and her Neptune are here. Oh my gosh. She is the reason why he became so successful. Neptune is iconography. Neptune is like, it's a spiritual planet. It's a generational planet, right? So to have that sitting on his midheaven, that brings him, that turns him into some kind of icon. It turns him into a creative genius. Like, her hard work, her passion, her work ethic, it just bolsters his, it bolsters him. It makes him bigger and brighter and shinier. Her Mars is also here in a conjunction with that Neptune. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you have Mars in a conjunction with Neptune, it is a bit of a hooker placement. I'm not saying that she literally did that, okay? What I am saying is that she potentially was exploited, and she has for whatever reason, for whatever trauma, something's happened where her sexuality and her hard work was exploited. Because these things are in her 8th house as well. That's like secret sex. That's like secret business. That's on his midheaven. There's some kind of connection between business and the public and secret sex. There's a dirty little handshake going on between that Mercury and that Mars and that Neptune. A dirty little handshake. If you do this for me, I'll give this to you. Yuck. Also, Mercury is like speech, right? So if that's on her Mars, he's got the ideas and she's the one who's going to manifest and turn them into something tangible. So that's also that they manifest things together. Like, and it's a very creative placement because his sun and moon are here. So they collaborate. They did collaborate really well together. I'm not saying it was right, but there's a creative genius here for sure. It's so icky. It does. By the way, any kind of creative genius or any kind of fantastic projects, whatever, it doesn't. Whatever they created that was well acclaimed or adored, it doesn't justify what he may have done to her. If it was sexual, there's nothing to justify. Because I'm so sick of people saying, oh, well, you know, like this artist was a horrible person, but that's okay because they created this great art. No, absolutely not. It's disgusting. Nothing can justify predation like that, especially on a child. No. There is a Mars and look, another midheaven Mars conjunction. They both have each other's Marses on each other's midheavens, so they make each other famous. And he's got Saturn here too. This really was a professional relationship that crossed the boundaries. Mars is the phallus, the pee-pee, sitting on her moon, and the moon is like emotions, right? And emotional regulation. Hers is in Aquarius, which is already difficult placement, so that tells me that and her 4th house is in Leo. Why is her moon at the top of her chart? Why is she finding connection and intimacy and family in her house of work? What was going on at home where she feels so disconnected from her parents? Because Aquarius moons have that. But yeah, a moon on the midheaven is someone who's very vulnerable. They can be perceived as crazy if they act out and get emotional, which is very, very common for a public 10th house or 11th house moon. His Mars is here. So if I read this as a relationship, like a romantic relationship, sexual relationship chart, a Mars and moon conjunction, that's sexual attraction, especially on the Mars person's part. Actually, she has her Mars. It's not in a conjunction, but her Mars is in Capricorn and his moon is in Capricorn. So they both have this like moon Mars emotional, sexual, allegedly connection here. That's it's so disgusting. But it's good for business. Saturn is here, so he also has the potential to destroy her career. Saturn is a heavy planet. It's the karmic planet. It's Big Daddy. It is having Saturn in a 10th house can be really good. Again, long hard climb to the top. Like they can get there, like potentially superstardom, a lot of money, all of that. But it's exhausting having the moon and the Saturn in the same sign. Like he exhausts her. There's a connection, whatever this is, some emotional and or sexual allegedly connection, but Saturn here takes from her moon. Like it's not an easy, if your moon is on someone's Saturn, the Saturn person's going to exhaust you. And whatever lessons they have to learn are going to be softened by that moon, because moon is compassionate and moon is like, it's a very vulnerable place. It's a very vulnerable planet. Venus is also here in Aquarius. So, I mean, Venus and moon together is another romantic connection. So it's the one person's emotional nature and the way they want to live their life in the domestic sphere really aligns with the Venus person's values and attraction. And so, yes. Do I see attraction here? Absolutely. Like she was definitely one of his favorite employees. I'll say that. She was definitely at the very least, one of his favorite employees. Next slide. Taboo partnership. Amanda's descendant conjunction with Dan's Lilith. I don't like the look of this at all. It's so interesting because we've been talking about their business and their potential alleged intimacy that they have with each other. I don't, in the long term, I don't see them having, and they haven't, being really good partners for each other, especially for her. Like her descendant lies in Sagittarius. He has no personal Sagittarius placements. Ideally, if she was going to be in a partnership with someone, they should have like a soft, gentle, friendly Sagittarius placement, like a Venus or a moon or something like that. Now, what does he have? He's got Neptune in there, and it's in his 8th house too. Ooh. I'm going to do an individual reading for him and we'll talk about that, but it looks nasty. He's got Lilith, the angry, abused, divorced woman there sitting on her descendant. So he only brings her shame and crazy and difficulty. And Juno's here too. Juno is the wife. Actually, Lilith and Juno are both angry wives. Like, get that angry, abused wife, that kind of energy. So again, another placement that says that he really perceives her as kind of like a wife, as much as he perceives her as like a child, or like a child that he can teach and nurture. He also perceives her as potentially, allegedly, a wife, a lover, someone that he could, he could really break those boundaries. I mean, Neptune is here. It's ugly. It's icky. She has her Saturn in Sagittarius with Uranus and Juno. Interesting. Sorry, these are in Scorpio, but they're still in a conjunction with that descendant. I'm just saying. Her Saturn is firmly in Sagittarius. So if she's got Saturn in the 7th house, there's a lot of lessons around partnership, boyfriends, boyfriends, partnerships, romantic, and also friendships as well. 7th house is platonic as much as it is romantic, and she just has a lot of difficulty with friends, and I have heard that she was very quiet on set. When she was on stage, she was loud and chirpy and social because she had to be, but in terms of her interpersonal relationships, it's very hard with Saturn there. There's a lot of lessons around how to be a good wife, or how to be a good girlfriend, or how to interact with people. It's also crazy. And with Uranus here, her friend, we want to call it a friendship circle, her associations, it's like a revolving door of people. People are in, people are out, people are in, and it's really hard for her to connect to people. And that's really hard because she is a Taurus Venus. She wants connection, she wants friends, she wants something traditional, she wants something stable, but it's almost like it's denied from her with this very chaotic 7th house. And he's got his Lilith on her descendant. It's so icky. It's so yuck. Like, she is like the abused wife, and she has Lilith on her ascendant as well. I'm going to do an individual chart reading on her at some point. The performing slave, Dan's Uranus and Pluto in Amanda's 5th house. So the 5th house is the Leo house. It's like, look at me. I can tap dance. I can sing. I can paint. It's creativity. So, and it's also children and childbirth, and that's something that's really apparently, allegedly, maybe not, maybe it happened, maybe it didn't, she was forced to terminate something when she was 13. It was in a Twitter thread, or was it in Twitter? She had a Twitter, or she had some kind of social media account when she was pretending to, she had a name. What was her name? It was like Ashley. She changed her name for Twitter, and she put out all of these tweets, and one of the tweets said that she had terminated a pregnancy when she was 13, and and she pinned that on Dan. Apparently, we don't know how true this is. This is all alleged. But if we look at this synastry, you'll see that Uranus and Pluto are here. Pluto is death and destruction. Uranus is chaos, and it's very it's something that is out of her control. So if she were to be with him in any kind of way, he has the ability to pull the plug on projects, on creative projects that could be a TV show, a film, but also the creation of life, like potentially. I don't know. It's all alleged. Everything's alleged. I don't know anything. I'm just relaying the information that I learned online because it's all out there in the public now. Everything's online. But also with her 5th house, with Pluto here, like it feels like she's enslaved. Like she's some kind of dancing circus monkey or circus poodle, like jumping through hoops of fire. Like it's very chaotic. It's not warm, it's not friendly, it's not fun. Certainly maybe early on, when she had the energy to do this, she found this quite exciting, to collaborate, to create art. You know, I could see that being a lot of fun for her, but it is exhausting. This is very exhausting, especially if this carried on for many, many years. Oh. From glory to obscurity, Amanda's Pallas Athena conjunct Dan's North Node. Dan has his North Node in Cancer, far, far away from his midheaven with all his glorious Capricorn placements. And I've seen a North Node in the 4th house before in someone like Ghislaine Maxwell, in other people that have committed crimes. And look where they are now. Danny boy, North Node in Cancer in the 4th house. You're going home and there's nothing else. There's nothing much there for you. And her Pallas Athena, which is her genius, is going to take him there. Pallas Athena represents your creative and artistic genius. So there's some kind of, whether she is going to be part of his, like take an active part in his downfall, I don't think she'll do that. I feel like she's so traumatized. She's probably signed a bunch of NDAs and has to keep her mouth shut. But I'm wondering, with this interaction she had with him over these years, I'm wondering if that is going to play a part in his eventual downfall, because he hasn't fallen yet. He's still employed, right? He's still working. I wonder if he, you know what, I'm just going to say it. I hope he goes to jail. Maybe he will. I've seen so many prisoners. I've seen so many people have committed horrendous crimes that have a North Node in the 4th house and nothing at all supporting it. They go to prison. Maybe she is going to be the person that puts him, well, whether she means to or not, maybe she is the force that is going to help with this, help get him to where he needs to be, because she's going to help him. She's going to help him with his soul's evolution. With her Pallas Athena in his 4th house, I understand why living together may have seemed like a good idea, because you know, 4th house is the home. 4th house is family. So I feel like if she moved in with him, there was artistic collaboration in the privacy of that house that she moved into. It's so gross. It's so gross. And this is their signature chart all together. So let's have a look around. This North Node. You see how her North Node is in the 12th house in Taurus with her Venus? I'm really hoping how this plays out. This is what I want to happen. I want her to get her money and to enjoy it and to get the help she needs. The North Node in the 12th house is, you know, it's coming away from the 6th house. And she's got her South Node with Pluto in the 6th house. It's almost like she was enslaved. Like she had to work. She never got a break. And she's got to learn how to enjoy the fruits of her labor. So hopefully she can get her money. She can get her the help she needs. And she can rest. And she can live up in a farm in a mountain and have some goats and horses and dogs. And also a nurse and a masseuse. I wish that for her. I hope that for her. And she just had her nodal return, and that's where she started to appear again. Like she was there. There's some unfinished business in this whole saga. We're gonna see more. We're gonna see more from the situation. I hope he goes to prison. I hope that's what that means. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. That's all I have to say about this. This is giving me a headache. Literally, I have like a throbbing headache just looking at this synastry chart. He's disgusting, exploitative Capricorn sun and moon bastard. Allegedly. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Remember, I do have 50% off my my Zoom readings and 30% off my 20-minute recorded readings. If you'd like to support me, that's the best way to do it. And if not, please like, subscribe, comment, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Goodbye.